I will tell you that I might have an interruption coming from that direction because Sammy is on a tear raid this morning. I had to bar the door. I literally have a picture frame jammed under the door. I will tell you that I might have. It's going to be interesting. Interruption breaks through. So coming. Just be uh, just be keen to it. If a little blur of blonde comes running this way and attacking me, just know that you need to call the FIB and send in the troops.
Would
She's
that be
small but
Moose?
mighty. So, no, that would be Sammy.
No, I'm saying
Moose?
are the troops Moose?
I think Moose right now is scared. He's in here hiding with me.
He's like, I'm with you, Dad.
He's like, no, she's just on one this morning. She woke up and chose violence. I hope not all of you guys woke up and chose violence. I hope you woke up and chose wins. So let's hear it.
I got an offer on my co-op yesterday that we just submitted a counter for this morning. Mike, you keep that smile to yourself. I see the laugh.
Hey, deals are deals, girl. Deals are deals.
True that.
Deals are deals.
I love that. Love that. Let's go on. What's next? Nobody?
Well, we heard Audra's win.
Yeah. In pickleball.
I had a winning conversation with Dan yesterday. That was a good one.
Ooh.
Yeah. I had to face my fears and sit down and have a good conversation. And, you know, you kind of have to get out of your own head. So thank you, Dan. And that was my win.
Well, you're welcome. I'm sad that it's fearful for you to sit down and talk with me.
It's not you. It's just, you know, it's that facing your own issues. So and then coming clean.
Mhm.
I like it. All right. Anyone else want to come clean? What are your wins? I know you're holding them.
Jim looks like he's on his way to a win. Listing appointment, buyer consultation. Mm-hmm.
No, just breakfast with a friend.
Oh, all right.
Coffee and
But that is a
Breakfast
win.
is always a
Sounds
win.
like networking to me.
Hey, that's a win. Breakfast with a friend.
It's about
Absolutely.
possibly investing in a market center, actually.
There you go. See?
Jim, the owner. I like it. Well, it's Wednesday. We're done with our wins today. So I want to hear from you. What are the best topics, situations, conversations that we can work on to better the playing field with you?
If someone is dragging their feet, getting a property, they're supposed to want to get an investment property, and this is their first time.
Okay. So they're dragging their feet on that?
That's what I think.
What makes you think that?
I've been working with them since last year and met him at an open house, asked me to show him fourplexes, threeplexes, and then he switched to just a single home property. And I've been showing him he hasn't got his finances in order.
Yeah. Did you
So
ask
I
him?
talked to him about that.
All right. And what'd you uncover?
That he needs to get it done. So next time I talk to him, I want to make sure he's on it.
Oh, what's holding him back?
Good question. I'm thinking it's fear.
Okay. Fear is easy to overcome, isn't it?
I think so.
I
I
do
mean,
too. With the right information, you can overcome any fear,
okay.
right?
Mhm.
Horror movies wouldn't be so scary if the doors had windows in them, would they? Oh, there's a guy behind that door with a chainsaw. Probably don't open that door.
Mhm.
Okay. There's a killer in the house. Probably leave the house.
Mhm.
Okay, right? When we have the right information, it's a lot easier to help people navigate tough situations, especially those that are new or unknown. Investing, like buying a property that's going to be an investment property, is kind of scary if you've never done it before.
Mhm. Mhm.
And there's lots of resources out there for your buyers that are potentially wanting to become investors. Keller Williams Inc., our company that does printing, has a book called Flip and Hold, which are two really good resources that you can invest in. One to read for yourself, but if you've got a really strong investor that's thinking about doing something, it's a $12 investment for some lead gen that you could give them that book and say, hey, check this out.
Okay. Mhm.
I've heard a lot of people giving away business cards, not a lot of people give away business books.
The blue book, the MRAI, is really good too.
Yeah, it's a good starting point to understand why you're getting into investing.
Everybody's all, ooh, what's the MRAI?
The Millionaire Real Estate Investor.
Okay.
Ooh, Mikey's got it. There it is. I don't have any of my books with me because clearly I am not in the office. I am in the workshop here at the house.
My difficulty right now is I've got two people I'm talking to, getting them in touch with a lender and having the lender follow through and having the client follow through and get pre-qualified.
Okay. Or is there just no follow-up from your lender?
Yeah, there's follow-up from the lender somewhat, but and then they say, well, we're waiting for her to fill out the application. Or
Okay. One thing I love to do in that situation is a group chat. Having a text thread between you, the lending partner, and the client. That way everyone's on the same page. And you can ping and say, hey, Julie, did your application yet?
okay, that's a great idea. I'm going to do that today.
I'm dealing with one right now, the same type of way. I wasn't getting responses from him, but as soon as I put in the group text with the client, he's on top of it now. So
Okay, great. And what happened to Sam?
Cooper. Get in your bedroom.
Sam is, I'm trying to think of how to say this delicately. Sam likes you guys. He still loves you guys. But there's something within Sam's company because of regional splits or some kind of marketing thing. I don't know. That Sam's directors say that he's stepping on toes by being a part of the Market Center call here. And I said, nay, sir, this is not a Market Center sponsored call. This is a Big Dan calls, well, sponsored call. This is a me thing. So still trying to get him back on, but we're working through the the logistics so he doesn't get himself in some hot water. But Sam is still available for direct calls, contacts, and information. We just closed 2 deals with him last week. So
Okay, that's cool.
yeah, he's definitely a resource that I would still use. He's going to try to be back on the calls as soon as he can get green light to do so. I didn't know there was as much politics in lending as there is in politics. It's kind of dumb.
Mhm.
If someone wants to show up and help, I want them to show up and help. That's part of being the team, right?
Mhm.
I don't want somebody on the team because they bought into a market or they bought into a region that says they own this area now. And I'm never, ever going to use anybody that I'm forced to use.
Mhm.
I'm only
Like
ever
Zillow.
going to use people that are in my vendor list, people that are in my team, because I don't know what your service is like. I don't know what I can do to trust you. I know, like, you guys have all heard Steve Lemon talks. I know for a fact, if I send somebody to Steve Lemon's, there are 6 people looking over that list that lead right away. And I know if they're qualifiable, I can close that deal within 25 days. There's some certainty to it because I've done it 100 times. I will give people a chance. But I'll tell you one thing is I am not the guy you want to say, hey, this is who you have to use. And I'm sure as hell not the guy that you want to say, well, I'm having a hard time getting connected to his group. Okay. Make Make a point to do so. Make an impact. Show up. Any one of us have the opportunity to do more business. Every one of us if you want to.
Yeah.
But you got to show up. There are thousands of lenders in this country. Just like there are thousands of realtors. There's millions of realtors. Are they all the same caliber? No. They all work differently. They all have different personalities. They all have different processes. So I want you to have 2 or 3.
I'm in the class right now.
Yes, you are. You're definitely in the class right now. I want you to have 2 or 3 lenders. That way, you know, you have different personality styles that can work with each one. Definitely have somebody that can speak native Spanish. Because if you run across somebody who's a Spanish speaker, they also speak English, they're going to be 10 times more comfortable with somebody whose native language is theirs. They can explain things differently. Just because you can translate doesn't mean it translates the exact same. But have a high profile lender. Have a muddy water lender. If you guys don't know what muddy water lenders are, let me know. And have someone that's a Spanish speaker. Or someone you can get a resource from multiple languages.
What's muddy water lender?
Audra, when you don't have the best credit and the deal's not as crystal clear, it's muddy water.
Okay.
These are people that know how to handle tough situations. 1099 employees, gig employees, right? Technically, real estate agents are muddy water deals because we're not salaried. We're 1099 contractors. We are a little bit more difficult than a W-2. That's a muddy water lender. Someone that can handle the difficult ones. Not saying that your main point of contact can't handle them all. But what if your main point of contact just isn't the right personality for this specific buyer? Maybe you need someone that's a little more pushy, or the opposite. Maybe you need a lender that's going to take more time driving through the numbers, going line by line with them. So having a bench of people is what you need. So Sam's good at a lot of things. Sam's a great investment lender too, because he does investments. Good question.
Yeah, he seems to have a passion around that. So,
Oh,
with your person who's on the fence about investing, that might be a great person to connect with.
good conversation to have. Sam does the classes on investing and stuff like that.
That's exactly what I did, Audra. I had a client who's doing a 1090 or 1099, a 1031 exchange, and that was the conversation I had is, hey, there's this lender that does this himself, so he knows the different aspects of it. Like, I think that would be a really good person for you to talk to. And maybe that's what it is just reinvigorating that conversation with like someone that has that piece of it in common.
Mhm. Mhm. Thanks. Yeah.
Usually, let's go back full circle for Audrey. Usually when I see fear or hesitancy on something, it's because there's unknown.
Mhm.
There's uncertainty. Doubt is the killer of momentum.
Yeah.
Raise your hand if you've stopped moving forward on something because you were unsure.
Mhm.
Exactly. Right. Got to know more information. So reinvigorate conversations. That's a really good follow-up. Hey, don't know if this is for you, but I've got a lending partner that does some investments and understands the different types of financing at a high level. Would that be worth you guys connecting? A lot of people want to be investors, but they don't understand where the money comes from. How do I get the money? Or what options do I have? Like, there's different loan types for different properties. So let's open up the opportunities.
He says he's going to use his bank.
And I'm sure his bank is great, but what if he had better options?
Mhm. Mhm.
Ha.
Okay.
I love giving options, my friends. When you give options, you open up pathways to make things easier. When you give options and you kind of direct people to choose options, you make them feel empowered. And when people feel empowered, they're more likely to make decisions. How about you? The rest of you, you're all quiet. Got Fabi, Ty, Anthony just chilling in the background. I'm very proud of Stephanie, Gracie, Mikey, Jimmy, and Lydia E, and Audra E, all for having your cameras on.
Well, I'm dealing with a really not awesome mold report that came back, as you know. So
And you
that's
got your signed addendum extending the inspection period.
sure did.
You were the third one yesterday I dealt with on that had to extend the inspection period because of something crazy.
Really?
Yeah. Another one was a well issue. Whose job is it?
How do you have mold in Arizona? There's no moisture.
Oh, you'd be surprised.
Yeah.
We also
And-
have some architecture with terrible airflow.
Well, and that's the thing. It's like this house has 5 different HVAC systems on it. It's got 2 like regular full-size split systems, and then it's got 2 packaged units on flat rooftops, and then it has a mini split in a bedroom. So talk about like somewhat of a nightmare with airflow and temperature regulation and everything else. What were you going to ask, Dan? Whose responsibility is it for what?
To dive deeper into situations that your buyers are concerned about.
Ours? I mean, and theirs.
Yeah. To a point. Like, I want you guys to remember source of the source. I don't want you going out there and being the information, but I want you to provide resources for information. There are tons and tons and tons of ways that we as professionals can look up information that the public doesn't readily know about. But it's also public facing information. So be the source of the source. If you've got a buyer that's concerned about something, do some extra digging. Do the extra work that makes you extra valuable so that you can help provide insight and perspective on the property that the purchase is going down the process of. We had an agent called me yesterday, and this is the third time I've talked to her about this situation. Is there a well on the property that the listing agent says it's no good? It doesn't work. It's capped off. It's not even registered. Okay, that's one source of information. Well, the buyer's agent takes a little bit of time and she looks up some things and comes across the registration of the well, comes across the well share agreement, comes across a bunch of stuff on a public facing form that title couldn't even locate. Just by searching docket numbers in the old previous owner's last name. And instead of drilling a $70,000 hole in the ground, now they have a location of a well that is still serviceable, just needs to be repaired. Do you think that kept the deal together? Mm-hmm. Now, buyer's agents will take the listing agent's words for law. I get it. I've done it myself. I'm like, oh, okay, great. You know what you're doing. This is your property. You've done the research. But is that always the case?
Absolutely not.
I find it more likely that the listing agent doesn't know everything about the property that you think they would.
And listing agents don't take your seller's word for law either.
Yeah. Do the verification. I love verification of properties, so you get to look up all the information. My favorite question when I sell land is what the zoning is. Right? Most listing agents don't even know that. Oh, it's CR2 or it's R3 or okay, great. What does that mean? Thank you for telling me the label of the zoning, but what does that mean?
You can have 2 chickens and half a goat.
Yeah. When you could explain things in a manner of what does that mean, right? It's an unregistered, non-capped, non-productive groundwater source. It's a lot of words for saying the well doesn't work. Okay, I hear there's a well, it doesn't work. 2 more questions. Is it dry? And what needs to happen to get it fixed? Next question. Where is it? So, Mike, you came off mute. What do you got?
No, just a lot of times unfortunately, that's the easy answer for the listing agent. They just heard it was not functioning and they don't want to dig any deeper. We sold a property that had a capped off well in it, which is connected to city water, wasn't really a big issue, but he was just curious after they purchased it and found out that the well works just fine. It's just, they capped it off themselves. The sellers did.
Put it on city water.
So I have a situation that maybe you guys could help me out with.
Are you awake now? There you are. I asked this question 24 minutes ago.
No, I just thought of it like when you guys started talking about this, but I'll be really quick. So I sold a condo to my boyfriend. It was my first transaction ever in June, and he's been slowly renovating it himself. He wanted to like redo everything, the floors, some of the walls, like pretty much everything, and he's literally doing it by himself. He doesn't want any help. He's an engineer, so he's just like, I don't know, wanting to do everything himself. So when we were in escrow, he basically inspected more than the inspector did, looking at everything he possibly could. And he saw there's like some little holes in the walls. He's found rat poop. So he's like, there's definitely a rat issue in this building. And I'm like, yeah, let's get some more inspections, like pest inspections or you know. And he's like, no, like I don't want to pay extra for that. I don't want to pay extra. Like insisted on it. And so we just ended up not getting a pest inspection. And he was fully aware that that's an issue, right? So fast forward, he's doing all these renovations and he's seeing things like what was it? It was that outlet that's for a stove that's has like it's like a circle shape. I don't know what it's called, but he saw that there was like spray foam on it and he's like, this is against code violation or whatever. And he also found this rat poison stuff behind the walls. And he's like, the seller fully knew that there was a rat issue and they didn't put it in the disclosures. Like I'm contacting an attorney and all this. And I'm like, but you knew during inspections before we even closed that there's a rat issue, like regardless of if it's disclosed by the seller, like you were aware of it. So does that change anything if like he finds evidence that the seller was aware that there was rats there, even though he knew and he still went forward with the purchase? Because it's hard because he's my boyfriend, and I'm trying to not have like a biased opinion, but I'm just like.
Here's my advice. If you have legal concerns about your property and your rights, then reach out to a legal attorney and talk about your options.
Mm-hmm.
You provided him the resources and urged him to get a further inspection done on items of concern of his. And that was your job. You did your job. And if he wants to go after the seller for some of this stuff that he thinks the seller knew, he's going to have to prove that the seller knew, and then he's going to have to take it to small claims court or some kind of other jurisdiction to litigate the situation. There's no one to pick up the phone and be like, oh, yeah, well, I knew. Here's $10,000. No.
Yeah.
Very easy for them to say.
And he asked, he's like, can you give me the owner's number? I'm like, no.
Yeah, I don't have it. Go ahead. Anthony, you got something?
Yeah, real quick. And I got to start using this document again. There's an actual document when buyers refuse to. It's called home inspect. It's an FHA document, so we should all have it because it should be worldwide, or I mean nationwide. Just look at that document whenever you have an issue moving forward, because that's just brought it to my attention that I need to start using that document again too.
Yeah.
California,
you just never know.
It's the BIW, buyer inspection waiver.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they can do a general home inspection. And there are likely times, and I've done thousands of inspections. There are likely times you're going to find stuff during a renovation that they didn't find on the inspection because you're opening up walls or you're doing things that go beyond the surface. Did they pull the stove out when they did the inspection? Probably not, because it's not something they do. That's why they didn't see the spray foam on the 3-pin connector.
Circle.
The circle thingy with 3-wire pins, also known as just a 241. So
I like the circle.
the circle thing, the circle thingy with the plug and the 3 things.
Yeah.
The,
I mean,
date,
I
the,
was gonna say that every time.
the nope rope, okay? But that's the thing. If you got a seller that knows this stuff, tell them to disclose it. Put on your seller disclosures. Cover their ass. If they don't know it, tell them. I don't know. Put it on there. I don't know. If the buyers are interested in something, if it's a concern, and I love this line, if it's a material concern of yours, I urge you to get a professional inspection. I am not trained nor licensed to do it. Well, my dad's a contractor. He's going to come do it. That's fantastic. Is your dad licensed? As a home inspector? No. Then it's probably not the same as getting someone in there every day looking for the same things. Now, I will tell you there are some situations that it makes sense for your buyers to litigate the situation. It is not on us to make that determination. If they're concerned, have them speak to a legal representative. That will tell them if they've got a case or not. And most attorneys are like, you're dumb. Don't do it.
Well, sounds like for something like that too, it would be more costly to pursue it than to just do the treatment.
No, seriously, that's what I said too.
Yeah. I mean, you're going over, is it the entire building that's infested or is it just his unit?
Well, yeah, probably the whole entire building. I mean, he's found evidence of rats in multiple areas, and I ended up just saying, let's just rip all the walls out and like make sure that he kind of did his own preventative treatments in the walls for rats.
Yeah.
So he's been good now so far as seeing like recent
How do you
evidence.
feel about cats?
There you go. Go to
Just
your
like-
local shelter, get a barn cat. They'll rip their little rat
maybe
faces
get a little
off.
cat.
The best thing I did is I got my Nibelung cat. You guys have seen Bearcat, my giant fluffy animal. Usually he's in here with me, but he's ran because of Sammy. We have a mice problem because we live in the desert in the middle of nowhere. Like there's a bunch of land around us, so we're going to inevitably have rodents. They find warm, they snuggle in. And my cat has eradicated a lot of that issue. So I'm just saying, might add to the family that also solves some of the problems.
Most
Yeah,
shelters have a barn
I
cat
told him that.
program.
So, all right, my friends. Gracie, good luck.
Thank you. That
I like the
helps.
idea. If you got a concern, open the walls up, get it mitigated. All you have to do is seal it better, and you won't have that issue in your unit. Unfortunately, if the whole building's got an issue, they're always going to have an issue because rats find a way.
Mhm.
Like I said, they find warm, they snuggle in. All right, guys, thank you so much for your random conversations today. All the good wins, all the good celebrations. I'm excited for tomorrow. Let's bring it heavy and hard, all right?